My name is Isabella Villa, and I'm a senior social policy major. And I've had two instances of racial discrimination that stand out during my undergraduate experience at Northwestern. The first one that I wanted to talk about was an experience I had with a professor during my practicum for CESP. I was working at the San Francisco Public Defender's Office, and I had a meeting with my professor to sort of talk about how the internship was going. And when I told him that me speaking Spanish was helpful for being able to relate with my clients and help the investigators as well as lawyers on the cases, he responded with a comment that was something to the effect of, "Oh, well, you know, that's good that you're doing that because you can help alleviate your violent culture," talking about me being Latina and coming from a violent background. And it was very hurtful. I think that at the time I was just very shocked and confused as to why he would make that kind of a claim, especially him being an academic, you know, making a statement that was just so off basis. Yeah, that was really hard to hear. Another experience that I had was with another professor during his office hours, and I was asking him for help on something in his class, and then, you know, it was going really well, he was being really helpful, and when we finished talking, he started asking me questions about my background, and I told him that I'm Colombian, and I was born in the US, my parents are from Colombia, and he asked me about their educational background, which I thought was sort of an interesting question. And so I told him that my parents were, you know, well-educated individuals. And when I told him that, he just sort of looked really surprised and said, you know, like, "Oh, wow, you know, that's impressive. Like, that's a surprise. Like, that's rare for you to be Latina and like have educated parents." And I felt like in that case he was trying to give me somewhat of a compliment, but it didn't feel that way at all. It was, once again, very hurtful, and it felt like he was, you know, making me less of what I was and maybe less of what my accomplishments were for my background, and made me feel that me being Latina was maybe something like holding me back from being successful, or you know, that it was just so rare and shocking to come from an educated background and be Latina. Like, those two things can't come together. And so the reason why I share these stories is because I don't think that it's okay for professors to make these kind of comments to students. And I want undergraduate students at Northwestern to know that they're not alone in dealing with these kind of experiences, and that if a situation, whether it's with a professor or an administrator or even a peer, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, then chances are it's probably something that they said was inappropriate. And I wish that at the time I would have said something. And so I encourage others to speak out about what they're not okay with.